This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan ARDINES, to use this as an educational material.
Introduction to the Study of Globalization by Manfred Steger. And we are the Group 1. After the presentation, the student will be able to understand the following: Manfred's ideology of globalization, Freeden's sentiments, Aljur Apadurai contribution, the escape of globalization, techno, media, finance, etc.
Introduction of ideology of globalization. Globalization is the integration of people, culture, tradition, economy, development, etc. in the world. Moreover, globalization refers to the expansion of information, technology, infrastructure, trade, and services throughout the world. In today's world, we see globalization growing at an alarming rate. Several countries come together to increase globalization for the betterment of mankind. Most of the countries invest, carry out, and trade in order to grow their economy. This will help them to provide the best services to their people. So, it is becoming highly impossible to develop the country and its economy without globalization. In the current world, it requires huge investment and partnership in the international companies to bring better prospects to their country. Earlier, people used to trade goods from one country to another, which used to take a lot of time as there was no technology or facilities that could make their transport easy. But today, the scenario is quite different as there is huge opportunity for the countries to do business or trade in an efficient way.
What is globalization? Globalization is a process of worldwide expansion. What is being expanded? Social relations and consciousness. According to Manfred Steger, the intensification of worldwide social relations which link distant localities in such a way that local happenings are shaped by events occurring many miles away and vice versa. So here's the ideologies of globalizations. Ideologies. According to Steger, there are three main types of globalisms: market globalism, justice globalism, and religious globalism. First is market globalism. Market globalism is one aspect of globalization associated with free market ideology. This involves the different countries having free trade with each other without government restrictions. Market globalism can be complemented by other globalisms like justice globalism. The second is justice globalism. Justice globalism envisage a global civil society with fair relationships and environmental safeguards. They disagree with market globalists who view neoliberalism as the only way. For example, justice globalists argue that democracy should be participatory, not merely representative. Justice is understood to be more than a formal procedural justice. It is meant to refer also to social, restorative, and redistributive justice involving generations and communities, not just individuals. The third one is religious globalism. Religious globalism strives for a global religious community with superiority over secular structures. Ideologies are powerful systems of widely shared ideas and pattern beliefs that are accepted as truth by significant groups in society.
What does political scientist Manfred Steger believe that globalization could result in? Rectifying the staggering inequalities between rich and poor or promoting conservation. This means that addressing wealth inequality and promoting conservation are both essential for a fair and sustainable future. These efforts aim to ensure social justice and protect our planet's resources for future generations. It promises empowerment of people across the world, since humanity has been facing common problems in economic, political, and social spheres. This highlights the potential to empower people globally by addressing common challenges in economic, political, and social domains. it underscores the role of technology in fostering connectivity, collaboration, and solutions for shared issues faced by humanity.
So what are the four forms of ideology of globalization? Steger identifies four principal forms of ideology of globalization. This is mainly embodied extended globalization, disembodied extended globalization, object extended globalization, and the organization or agencies extended globalization. Embodied globalization. So this is the first form. This globalization is a term used to describe how trade and technology have made the world into a more connected and interdependent place. This globalization also captures on its scope and economic and social changes that have come about as a result. So the second form of principal forms of globalization is disembodied globalization. So it pertains to the interrelations formed through the mobility and intangible things and the processes including the exchange of communication of ideas, words, image, meanings, knowledge, sounds, electronic text, software programs, and novel cyber assets such as blockchain encoded cryptocurrencies. The third form of forms of globalization is the object extended globalization. So it is a movement of commodities and other objects of exchange. He calls the transmission of ideas, image, knowledge, and information across the world space. So the example of object extended globalization is the cell phone. So the last part of globalization is the agency of organization. So it is a dispersion of an exchange of agents or representatives of various institutions and organizations. So this part of globalization can be carried out by agencies such as global or mass culture, international trade, mass migration.
Michael Freeden is Professor of Politics at Oxford University and Director of Century of Political Ideologies and is Professor of All Fellow at Manfield College, Oxford. So basically, there are three types of sentiments: positive, negative, and neutral, along with more intense emotion like angry, happy, or sad, or interest, or not interested.
Freeden's approach is his claim that all ideologies contain a core of concepts which enable to clear identification of the doctrine, which states that ideologies will have a core or a concept that makes it clear to identify. Freeden's categories, his approach to ideologies as a conceptual morphology, says that he approaches ideologies by seeing the form of the concept.
Michael Freeden's beliefs about globalization are rooted in his work as a political theorist. In political science, globalization refers to the integration of separate nations, regions, or even individuals into a wider global system. He acknowledges that globalization is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that encompasses various economic, political, cultural, and social aspects. This means that globalization affects us in every aspect of society, from economic, political, to cultural. Freeden's perspective on globalization likely involves analyzing how it affects the traditional boundaries of nation-states, challenges concepts of sovereignty, and influences the distribution of power on global scale. This means that through globalization, our countries will become connected.
What is the ideology of liberalism? Liberalism is a political and moral philosophy based on the rights of the individual, liberty, consent of the governed, political equality, right to private property, and equal before the law. Liberals advocate for a representative government through the Constitution and the Parliament. The goal of liberalism was to eliminate the governmental limitations on the how of money and products. For growing middle class, liberalism meant respect for the rule of law and freedom for individuals. With the proper institutions and diplomacy, liberals believe that states can work together to maximize prosperity and minimize conflict. Liberalism is one of the main schools of international relations theory. Liberalism comes from the Latin liber, meaning free, referring original to philosophy of freedom.
I'm Decadent LARUYA JOHNJIE. So my topic is all about Aljur Apadurai. What is Apadurai known for? Apadurai is a world-renowned expert on the cultural dynamics of globalization. Having authored numerous books and scholarly articles, the nature and significance of his contributions throughout his academic career have earned him the reputation he is a oscillating figure in his field. If you don't know who is Aljur Apadurai, Apadurai is an Indian-American anthropologist known for his work on globalization, cultural studies, and social theory. He has written extensively on topics like the global flow of cultural commodities and the impact of globalization on societies. The idea of Aljur Apadurai to globalization, he defines 5 basic landscapes that are about people and their migration, like ethnoscapes, technology, technoscapes, mediascapes, agescapes, financescapes. Globalization, according to Apadurai, occurs at the points of rupture and disjunction between different landscapes. So first is ethnoscapes is a concept introduced by cultural theorist Aljur Apadurai in his work on globalization. It refers to the movement of people such as tourists, immigrants, refugees, and other mobile individuals across borders and within a different cultural context. And second is technoscapes. Technoscapes is a term often used in sociology and cultural studies to describe the landscape or environment shaped by technology and digital advancement. And mediascapes, it compasses all the various forms of media communication channel available in that area, including television, radio, newspapers, social media, and digital platforms. Agescapes is used in political geography and cultural studies. These agescapes can influence how individuals perceive the world and make decisions related to politics, culture, and society. And lastly is financial landscapes, in which businesses, markets, and economies operate this landscape, encompass various financial factors such as interest rates, inflation, stock prices, exchange rates, and economic policies, which can all have a significant impact on financial decision making and investment strategies.
What is the theory of Apadurai? Apadurai argues that the notions of national ethnos lies behind the idea of every modern nation-states, while a nation-state may be vested in ideas of multiculturalism, inclusion, and tolerance. The very idea of national sovereignty is built upon a predominant ethnic and cultural doctrine. So, Aljur Apadurai argues that the concept of the national ethnos is the foundational to the idea of every modern nation-state, while many nation-states may project image of multicultural inclusions and tolerance. The core principle of national sovereignty is often rooted in predominant ethnic and cultural identity. So, Apadurai contends that the nation-state typically promote as a specific ethnic-cultural identity as the basis for unity and collective identity. This identity often involves a shared language, history, religion, or ethnicity, and it serves as a cornerstone for the constructions of national narratives and symbols. In essence, the state's legitimacy and authority are often tied to this dominant cultural doctrine, which was used by Aljur Apadurai to refer to the different types of globalizations on multiple and intersecting dimensions of integration. Anthropologists said that different kinds of globalizations occur on multiple and intersecting dimensions of integration that he calls scapes. Different kinds of globalizations based by Aljur Apadurai is the real where political ideas move around. So there are four kinds of scape of globalization. The first is the ethnoscape, second is mediascape, third is technoscape, fourth is financescape, and the fifth is eduscape.
Good day everyone, I am RODRISSI FABULAR and I am going to report the 5 scapes of globalization. First one is ethnoscapes. This refers to the flow of people across boundaries. Second, mediascapes. This is the flow of media across borders. Third is the technoscape, is the technology and the ability to move such technology rapid speeds. Fourth, financescapes refers to the different forms of capital and the movement of such capital across the world for various purposes. And the last one, eduscapes. The flow of ideas and ideologies is composed of concepts, terms, and images.